Hey, what's going on? In this video, we're going to compare the differences between puckering and tongue blocking. There's some other embouchures too, and we're going to talk about them as well. And we're going to look at these in the categories of how difficult is it to get started, how's the long-term difficulty, how's the sound, and the bendability, and what techniques are available to you if you use this embouchure. So that's what we're going to go through in this video. So let's go jump in to talk about the difficulty of puckering versus tongue blocking and just getting started and getting those single notes online. Before we jump in, let's just establish what these two embouchures or ways of getting single notes on the harmonica actually are. So puckering is where you're going to scrunch up your lips and you're going to try to isolate one hole just by kind of squeezing your lips tight so only one hole comes through. Okay? And tongue blocking is where you put your tongue on the harmonica and you bring it close and you kind of just let the little space on the right side of your mouth let a note come through. All right, so both of these are totally legitimate ways of playing the harmonica, but I think there's some different strengths and weaknesses to these two styles that I'm going to compare. And I did mention that there's more embouchures. Technically, there's also U blocking where your tongue goes into a U. This is something that is kind of genetically locked out for some people. Like I can't make my tongue do that, so I can't really talk about that. And then there's also the deep relaxed embouchure, which is very, very similar to puckering. So I'm going to kind of lump that in with puckering. Where there's a difference, I will go and talk through that. The deep relaxed embouchure is where you take your harmonica's comb and you put it on the bottom lip here. So like that, the inside of your bottom lip. And that will get you a single note as well. Okay, so let's talk about the difficulty of mostly puckering versus tongue blocking and getting started. All right, so for getting started and just getting your first single notes, I would definitely say that puckering is easier. The concept makes more sense, and usually this is the one that most people find to start with, probably from a YouTube video or something. So, you know, when you scrunch your lips up, it's pretty easy to get that single note working. However, there is a challenge here, which we'll talk about in a minute, is that it takes some musculature to be able to do that. So it may feel kind of tiring in the beginning, but you can go and do it. Now with tongue blocking, you put your tongue on the comb and you play a note on the side, right? So it's kind of being blocked by, you know, your tongue and the side of your mouth like that. It takes most players a little bit longer to go and get started with this. So I definitely got to give the points here to puckering. It's definitely easier to get started. I find that when I work with students and then they go try out tongue blocking, usually it feels like they're just not very good at it for a couple weeks, sometimes even a couple months. It just takes people a little bit longer to get into it. So would that be worth it? Well, we'll find out here in a minute. Next, let's talk about the difficulty of what it's actually like playing with these embouchures in the long term. So let's talk really quickly about the long-term difficulty of puckering versus tongue blocking, okay? So I mentioned earlier that puckering takes some musculature. In the beginning, there may be a little bit of tension there and it might be kind of tiring to develop that skill, but once you get it, right? Except if you take a long break with your playing, which, I mean, life happens, right? I think this happens to everybody. So if you take a long break like that, what you're going to find is that you have to rebuild up that musculature. Like it's going to feel really tiring to play again. So on that level, like in the long term, I would say puckering is actually a little bit more difficult. And then there's also some techniques, which we'll get to in a minute, that you may want to pick up that are tongue blocking specific techniques. And so I find that a lot of puckering players in the long run will eventually like pick up a little bit of tongue blocking. And so in the long run, you actually have to be thinking about, okay, I'm playing puckering and now I'm switching to tongue blocking for this and I'm going back to puckering. I think that's a little bit more difficult actually. So tongue blocking gets to the point here. Once you learn to tongue block, you can just be a tongue blocking player and that's kind of it. You'll never feel like you need to switch, and tongue blocking is very easy on your musculature. So if you take a long break and you start playing again, it's going to feel exactly the same. Now, before we continue, if you don't know how to do either of these embouchures and you want my full tutorial on how to get these down, well, you can check them out. It's a bonus inside my Start Soloing 3-day improvisation course. So it's a bonus called the Sound Good from the Start mini course in there. And I have tutorials for all of the main like beginner skills like puckering and tongue blocking, and also the deep relaxometer, which we haven't talked much about, but in that long-term difficulty we were just talking about, it's kind of a way to make puckering a little bit easier. And if you want to learn about that and kind of get the full rundown on these different techniques, go check out Start Soloing, and you'll find these lessons there as a bonus. The link's down below in the description. So sign up when you're ready. Let's continue on with the video. And next, let's talk about the sound. All right, let's talk sound. Now, in general, I would say puckering is going to sound a little bit more thin. All right, so let me show you what the difference in sound is actually like. It's not dramatic, but there is some. Now, I'm going to do the first position major scale on this A harmonica with puckering first. Take a listen. Now here's tongue blocking. Now, they're not fundamentally different, and there are great players who can play in both styles and, play puckering and sound amazing, but I will say that tongue blocking players usually find that tongue blocking sounds a bit better. It's more full, it's a little bit louder, the tone feels a little less thin. Now, you can really work to make your puckering sound a little bit more open like that, but it's work you got to do. It's more long-term difficulty. And on tongue blocking, you just have a more full sound by default. But there's another aspect of your sound, which is in terms of what techniques you can use and also how easy is it to bend. So let's talk about techniques next. All right, here's the deal. With puckering, there's really nothing special that you can do in your harmonica just because you're a puckering player, with one exception. So when you are playing in the puckering style, there is one advantage here, which is you can use your tongue to start and stop the flow of air because it's, freely hanging in your mouth, which will allow you to kind of, start your notes a little bit more precisely in some cases. But the biggest advantage is if you want to play one note over and over again at a very fast speed, well, there's an advantage here to puckering. It doesn't come up that much in playing, but this is a style thing, right? If that's the sound that you want, then you'll find that puckering is going to give you a little bit more speed. There are some players, I'm thinking, someone like Jason Ritchie, I believe is a puckering player in general, and he does some really fast things that would be very hard for a tongue blocking player to do, but this doesn't really become a problem until like the really upper echelons of skill, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, but it is there. Now, as a tongue blocking player, you actually have some real tonal and technique advantages here. So your sound is a little bit more full, as we talked about earlier, but you can also do a couple extra things which are really cool. So as an example, you could do slaps and pulls. Now a slap is, I'm gonna play like 4-draw. Okay, do you hear that? So what I'm doing here is that I'm starting to draw in this case. All the holes are coming through. Okay, so like maybe 2, 3, and 4 draw. And then I'm slapping. So I'm putting my tongue down on like hole 3 to cut off the flow of air and turn it into a single note. And it creates this like kind of, you can hear it, it's like a suction feeling. Okay, so that's a slap. A pull is the opposite. Your tongue starts on and then you release. And it just allows you to do a lot of really interesting things in a texture way. It allows you to create this like percussion kind of style to your playing. And this actually comes up all the time. Like if you're a tongue blocking player, you're probably slapping like every couple notes, and it just allows you to play with one extra variable, okay? And I just think it's more fun. I mean, I didn't put this as a category, but tongue blocking is more fun, I believe. I've done both, okay? I started off as a puckering player, and I find that tongue blocking is more fun because slaps and pulls, it's just another dynamic way of playing the harmonica that I think is really interesting, because you're not only thinking about what notes you're playing, you're not only thinking about your volume levels and your rhythm, but you're also thinking about slaps. And I say thinking about, but eventually this stuff becomes like super natural and you don't need to be in your head about it, you're just kind of doing it, right? So there's that. And then there's also split chords where you're putting your tongue in the middle, and you're able to create, like, let's say holes 1 and 4 together, which has a cool sound. And this comes up a lot in classic blues music. It's also just great in whatever style that you're playing in, especially in first and second position. As a tongue blocking player, it's just tongue blocking, but you're also letting a hole come through on the bottom, right? But as a puckering player, it's not that simple, because if you are puckering and you want that sound, you can still get it, right? But you essentially have to switch to tongue blocking for a minute to go and do that and then move back to puckering, right? You know, I said earlier that puckering is a little difficult in the long term compared to tongue blocking. Well, it's because tongue blocking players can just stay in tongue blocking to get that sound, where pucker players have to switch. And then there's also some minor things like a tongue flutter, where you're just kind of slapping and pulling really quickly. Your tongue's coming on and off and on and off. It's a minor thing. It doesn't come up that much, but tongue blocking is definitely going to give you more techniques to play around with. And I think that just kind of overall makes it a little bit more fun. Next, let's talk about bends. Are bends easier on puckering versus tongue blocking? What's the deal with that? Bending is easier while you're puckering. It's just the case. And let's talk about it. So if you're playing, like, let's say 4 draw, you're bending by taking your tongue and kind of like moving it back in your mouth like that. It's like that kind of a motion, okay? And it's just an easier motion to make. When you're tongue blocking, you can still bend, right? A lot of players have trouble with this, and they don't even think that bending is possible. It's definitely possible, okay? Do it all the time. So let's do the same 4 draw. Now my tongue is on hole 3, right? But when I start to bend, it starts to just kind of cave in like this. And it's more of like right here on your tongue. That part starts to go down. I can't move my joints that way, but you know. And by doing that, that's how you get your bends. So bending on tongue blocking, it's harder to figure out, but it's definitely doable. And if you want my guidance on how to actually do it, I have some unique exercises to share with you. Go check out my Start Soloing course. I have a full bending tutorial in there called the Bending Breakthrough. So you can go watch that in addition to the tutorials on tongue blocking and puckering and the deep relaxed embouchure and the full 3-day improv course that the whole thing is based around. So if you want to go check that out and improve your bending in one of these styles, go check out the Bending Breakthrough inside of Start Soloing, totally free, links in the description. All right, so let's get to the verdict. Which one is better, puckering versus tongue blocking? Well, you probably got this already, but I think tongue blocking is better. I think it's more fun. I think the overall sound is a lot better and just more dynamic with those slaps and pulls. And I think the long-term difficulty of it is easier based on like your musculature, and also you don't have to switch embouchures. Like if you're a tongue blocking player, you're just a tongue blocking player and you're not losing out on all that much. Now, I'm saying this with one big caveat, which is if you do this, okay, if you switch to tongue blocking and you've been a puckering player, you're going to go through a period where you feel like a total beginner again, okay? A lot of people will tell me when they try to switch, it almost like feels like I have to relearn the harmonica. And on some level, yeah, you kind of do. You're not losing all of the knowledge that you have. You're not losing all the techniques. You know, wah still works the same as an example, right? The riffs that you know still work the same. However, you have to develop that coordination again. And for some players, this may not be worth it. So I'm not saying that you switch necessarily. What I am saying though is that if you think that you might be missing out by not being a tongue blocking player, because most players are puckering players, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 80% or something. If you feel like you're missing out, try tongue blocking for 2 weeks and just see if it improves your sound, if you like it better, if it feels better, if it sounds better, because you may find that just after a short readjustment period, your playing will be better. Now, like for me, puckering I was able to do it, but it was always really hard and my mouth was always really tired. And I was able to play with it, but it wasn't very easy and it didn't flow very well. And then as soon as I found tongue blocking, it just really clicked with me. And I thought the bending, like over time, once I got the hang of it, actually was easier and more precise. And I've done tongue blocking since then and never looked back. So, you know, maybe that would be good for you, maybe not. You know, this is different for all of us. So it's a worthwhile experiment to try it if you haven't. If you're a tongue blocking player, stay with tongue blocking, I would say. If you're a puckering player, but you're tired of the musculature thing, you're tired of your mouth being tired, then you can always pick up the deep relaxed embouchure, where you put your harmonics comb on the bottoms of your inner bottom lip there. And that'll fix that problem, but it still kind of feels like puckering. Now, again, if you want to learn how to do this, check out Start Soloing. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.